This week, a very special exhibit opened at the First United Methodist Church. It portrays in words and pictures the world of Anne Frank, the Dutch Jewish girl who died at the age of 15 in a German concentration camp at the end of World War II.
She spent the last 3 years of her life with her family in an attic in Amsterdam. There, before her capture by the Nazis, she wrote a diary. Millions have been moved by that diary, which was discovered and published by her father, Otto Frank, after the war. The exhibit is just as powerful. To view it is to understand the tragic consequences of discrimination.
I am young and I possess many buried qualities. I am young and strong and I'm living a great adventure. I am still in the midst of it and can't grumble the whole day long. I've been given a lot, a happy nature, a great deal of cheerfulness and strength.
She was just a kid going to school and having boyfriends and spending a fair amount of time talking about that.
But you have to know, I just want to say, she was not holy. And these people forget, you know, she was just an original girl, like every other girl.
Well, certainly, she was an ordinary child, and at least until she was 13 years old, but placed in extraordinary, terrible circumstances.
She was so lovely and intelligent, and oh, she had so much to offer the world, and I think she was just wonderful.
She was robbed of so much, and gave so much to us in the taking of it from her.
She was born in 1929. She died in 1945. It was a time of oppression and collaboration, and a time of compassion and courage. The Anne Frank in the World exhibit tells two stories: the life of an ordinary schoolgirl and the rise and fall of the movement that killed her and millions of others.
Nationalsozialistische Bewegung! Es lebe Deutschland!
It is also the story of ordinary people who chose to collaborate or resist. Others were never given the choice.
Look at this girl smiling, Jewish girl smiling in front of a park out in the afternoon with her parents, taking a family photograph. The Jews were not allowed in the park. She doesn't know that. We wonder what happened to her.
Norman Campbell is the exhibit's executive director.
Here's Otto Frank in his German officer's uniform. World War I, he served Germany as a military officer. And what a terrible irony to look beyond the photograph and realize that the country that he served and honored in military service is the country that put his family to death.
The exhibit goes on to trace the story of the Frank family, the birth of Anne and her sister Margot, Otto Frank fleeing with his family to Holland to escape the Nazi regime, the Nazi occupation of Holland, the 2 years the Franks and another family spent in hiding, the arrest, deportation, and deaths of Anne, her mother, and her sister, the survival of Otto Frank, and the publication of the diary.
We can trust Anne Frank the way we can trust no other eyewitness, because she was a child writing from her experience, from her heart.
It is terrible outside. Day and night, more of those poor, miserable people are being dragged off with nothing but a rucksack and a little money. On the way, they are deprived even of these possessions. Families are torn apart, the men, the women, and children all being separated. Children coming home from school find that their parents have disappeared. Women return from shopping to find their homes shut up and their families gone.
Hannah, would you want to identify the photograph just for a minute?
For one special visitor, Anne's story is her story as well.
This is Anne, and this I am.
Hannah Gosler was a childhood friend of Anne's.
And then we were always together, from the kindergarten to the school, the elementary school, the high school. And then later I met her again in the concentration camp.
Imprisoned together at Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, the two girls spoke through a barbed wire fence.
And then she said a very bad thing. She said, my sister is dying and I have no parents anymore. And maybe if she would have known her father is still alive, we don't know, she could have more strength to live.
Anne Frank died 2 months before Bergen-Belsen was liberated.
Look, presents! Presents? Oh,
What's that she's got on her head?
A lampshade.
Well, she's kind of mythic, but this humanizes her, I think. We're trying to make her less of a martyr and, make her a real person.
Cammie Wilt portrays Anne Frank in the upcoming LCC theater production of The Diary of Anne Frank.
Despite everything, she still believed that everyone was still good at heart. I mean, it's an incredible message of optimism to everyone because, she was in the very, very worst of situations and she still believed.
I still believe, in spite of everything, that people are really good at heart.
At Junction City High School, students view the 1959 film and discuss the implications of discrimination. Kathy Zossel teaches language arts.
Why do you think Anne Frank still believed that people were still basically good?
Like the people who are hiding them, they are good people, and there's lots more of them than there are the bad people.
I mean, it wasn't the people that were bad, it was their ideas. They were misinformed, and so, I think she saw that.
I think you bring up a really good point, Amanda, and that is that there were good people who were misinformed. The point being that the only way to gain more awareness of life is to get better information and to get good information, okay? And to be aware yourself.
Zossel uses literature to promote individual and social awareness.
And if what we're giving out is a sense of acceptance and a longing to understand and a longing to honor other people, it's amazing how we get that back, okay? And it doesn't start way out there. It starts here with you at Junction City High School and with your friends and in your homes.
And that, says Norman Campbell, is the importance of the Anne Frank exhibit. To promote awareness and understanding of the consequences even minor acts of discrimination can lead to.
It starts by identifying people as different because they act different or they look different or they believe different. It's a question of not understanding where it leads, of not understanding how the behavior turns to tragedy, which is exactly what happened in Germany in the 30s.
Faces and bodies that hint at atrocities of the past. But this is not history, this is Bosnia.
To say this looks and feels like Germany in the 30s, before the rise of the Nazis.
Mulugeta Sarau died in the street, his skull split open.
Facing the past also means facing the present. Kathy Zossel.
It happens every day. Ordinary people are perpetrators, or ordinary people are recipients. And it's the ordinary people who make choices to alter that in some small way.
Anne Frank's ambition was to become a journalist. Had she lived, her diary shows she would have probably attained that goal. Her words and the exhibit challenge us to live up to her expectations.
In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply can't build up my hopes on a foundation of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder which will destroy us too. I can feel the sufferings of millions. And yet, if I look up into the heavens, I think that it will come right. This cruelty too will end, and peace and tranquility will be again.
And all the photography, the editing, and the writing of that entire piece was done by photographer Bill Getz.